Hey folks, welcome back to Grand Adventure. I'm your host Mark Guido, and we are still out here in the Utah desert just north of Moab, and then still out here with my buddy Bob. Last week we checked out Arches National Park, which is only about 10 miles down the road, and not much further in the other direction is Canyonlands National Park, which we'll explore today on this episode. So stay tuned. This week, while visiting Canyonlands National Park, we're still boondocking at Dalton Wells, free camping on a tract of Utah state land. We explained Dalton Wells' unique history in our last episode from Arches National Park. If you haven't yet seen that episode, we'll put a link to it right here on the screen for you to go back and check it out. Dalton Wells is only 10 miles north of the town of Moab, and just a bit further to the entrance of Canyonlands National Park. This is an exceptionally convenient place to camp for visiting Moab and its two national parks. We're actually starting our day outside of Canyonlands to visit Gemini Bridges on BLM land. The road to Gemini Bridges parallels Utah Route 313, the main road into Canyonlands National Park, but the Gemini Bridges Road is suitable only for high-clearance 4x4s, even though it's graded frequently. It's also one of the more famous mountain bike routes in Utah. We like to think of it as a more interesting way to get to Canyonlands. The geologic highlight here is the Gemini Bridges themselves, two nearly identical natural bridges that span a deep canyon below. Bridges are formed by erosion of the sandstone layer much the same way as arches are formed, except that arches are eroded by wind, whereas bridges are eroded by water. The Canyonlands Island in the Sky Visitor Center is just a short hop from the upper end of the Gemini Bridges Road. Island in the Sky is the park's most accessible district, offering expansive views from many overlooks along the paved scenic drive, several hikes of varying length, and a moderate four-wheel drive route called the White Rim Road. Most visitors to Canyonlands confine their visit to Island in the Sky, whereas the Maze, Needles, and Horseshoe Canyon districts of the park provide a more remote and primitive experience. Altogether, Canyonlands National Park preserves over 337,000 acres of high eastern Utah desert, including colorful canyons, mesas, buttes, fins, arches, and spires. Water and gravity have been the primary architects of this land, sculpting layers of rock into the rugged landscape you see today. Grandview Point sits at the southern end of the Island in the Sky Scenic Drive. A short paved sidewalk leads to a spectacular viewpoint. From there, you can hike an additional mile to a second viewpoint. Looking past the white rim below, the Colorado River has cut its channel from the left, whereas the Green River has carved its path coming in from the right. The two meet at the confluence, directly below Grandview Point, although the confluence itself is hidden from view by the canyon walls. Rangers often present geology talks at Grandview Point for a deeper insight into the forces that have created this stunning view. The 100-mile White Rim Road loops around and below the Island in the Sky mesa top and provides expansive views of the surrounding area. Four-wheel drive trips usually take 2 to 3 days, and mountain bike trips usually take 3 to 4 days. Under favorable weather conditions, the White Rim Road is moderately difficult for high-clearance four-wheel drive vehicles, which are required to have a low gear range by park regulation. Permits are required to drive the White Rim, both for day use and for overnight trips. You access the White Rim either via the Mineral Bottom Road or via the Shafer Trail. Today, Bob and I are driving the Shafer Trail, originally a cattle trail built by John Sog Shafer in 1917. Later in the 1940s and 50s, it was constructed into a usable road for trucks hauling uranium ore from the benches below. The road uses a natural rock fall to negotiate the cliffs of Wingate sandstone to form the rim of Island in the Sky. It first follows along a narrow ledge just below the canyon rim, exposed some 1,500 feet to the White Rim below. Whatever you do, don't go left. Once reaching the natural rockfall, the Shafer Trail descends towards the White Rim via a series of tight switchbacks. In many places, the road is merely a single lane wide, forcing drivers to wait at some of the turns if other vehicles are approaching in the opposite direction. The Shafer Trail is frighteningly slippery and often impassable when wet or icy. At the bottom of the Shafer Trail, we're going to turn left to follow the Potash Road to the Colorado River and beyond to Moab. So Bob, did you ever see the movie Thelma Louise?
I have, Mark.
You remember the end?
Yes.
Welcome to Thelma Louise Point.
Pleasure to be here.
Upon reaching the Moab Salt Company in Potash, the road becomes the paved Utah Route 279, which follows the Colorado River into Moab. Along the way, there are a number of popular sandstone climbing routes in the Wall Street climbing area, right along the roadside. We're stopping for lunch at Milt's Stop and Eat, a must-see for any Moab visitor that has sat on a quiet residential street corner since 1954. Milt's features grass-fed, hormone-free beef burgers and natural buffalo burgers, topped with locally grown vegetables when available, as well as homemade ice cream and old-fashioned malts made with the fresh milk from the McClish family dairy in Moab's Spanish Valley. Much of Milt's remains the same as it did in 1954. The vinyl top stools and the patterned Formica counter that overlooks the open grill and kitchen are all original. Milt's was originally located on Moab's Main Street. Milt's hasn't moved, but years ago Main Street moved away from Milt's, shifting 4 blocks to the west. Follow Route 128 east along the Colorado River from Moab, and you're in the BLM's Colorado Riverway Recreation Area. Here, the BLM maintains a number of dry campgrounds with spectacular views of the Colorado River and massive red rock cliffs. Only the Goose Island campground, closest to Moab, offers any cell service, but we prefer the more distant Big Bend campground for its sites that are further away from the main road. This is an area that's popular with paddlers as well, and the BLM maintains several boat launches for river runners. Well, I don't know about you, Bob, but I had a ball exploring Canyonlands today.
Thought it was a great time, Mark. It's a huge park and there's a lot to see and to explore in there.
There really is. And we've only scratched the surface. We hit an area called the Island in the Sky, which is the most frequented section of Canyonlands. There are 2 more sections of Canyonlands that are separated from Island in the Sky by either the Green or the Colorado River. West of the Green River and north of the Colorado River is the Maze District. South of the Colorado River is the Needles District. And it takes quite a while to travel between any of these different sections of Canyonlands because you have to go all the way around and cross the river where you can. Because of that, in a future episode, we'll check out the Maze District and the Needles District and share those with you. So if you're not yet one of our grand adventurers, now's the time. Smash that subscribe button down there in the corner and ring that notification bell. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up down below. Now, we publish and air new outdoor adventure videos each and every Wednesday, so we'd be honored if you share Grand Adventure with your friends and family. We also love to hear from you in the comments section down below this video. Until next week, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you soon.